Anyway, how do I sound? Okay, I want to get all these technological things out of the way before we dive in.
Okay, well, you sound like the Godfather.
Oh, I sound like the Godfather. That's good.
Yes, boss.
You really flattered me today when I seen those. I was like, I was like, he loves me. Anyway,
You know I do.
all right, guys. As always, welcome to the On Blast podcast. I am your host, Anthony. This is our
I am
co-host,
Average Joe Ira.
and that's Ira. You know him as the GOAT, Average Joe, Schmira, Ira, the one and only. Wouldn't do it with anyone else other than the man, the myth, the legend. Anyway, we are...
That's been a while since I heard that.
What?
The man, the myth, the legend.
Well, you know, I like to reserve those for special occasions, Ira.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, after you flattered me earlier with my Godfather text, I was like, wow, he still cares about me. That's great.
Now, let me enlighten the viewers a little bit, because in my
Please.
contacts, Anthony Cassese is labeled the Godfather. I don't have Anthony. I don't have anything else. It's just the Godfather.
You know, at first I thought, how weird. And then I was like, you know what? That's totally Ira. It's so fitting that you would name me the Godfather, dub me the Godfather. Like, truly.
I mean, dude, in our days in GNC, you are the Godfather. Like, seriously, you were that guy.
I was that guy. This is totally gonna burn my ass this entire show with being out of frame like this, because I cannot see myself.
I can imagine. It would drive me fucking crazy.
Oh man, you have no idea. Anyway,
Act
Ira.
natural. Just picture the audience naked.
Okay, I'm gonna in the words of,
Be naked.
well, I certainly won't be picturing you naked. Don't you worry.
Well, actually, you got that picture earlier.
I did ask you for some silly pictures, and I skimmed through them. I'm happy I didn't use any of them. But Ira sent me a picture that was a little explicit. I was like kind of blushing. I was like, Ira, where's your clothes?
I lost them that day. Dude, I was just so drunk. I was so drunk. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it, take them all off. I pulled Eric Andre.
I figured you were just in one of those moods.
Well, I mean, it was actually just only a couple of months after I got out, and me and one of my friends, we decided to get a hotel, and we got a hotel, just spent the night, and just had a good time.
Yeah, that's cool. Did I ever hear about this? Maybe I heard about this.
I believe this was before I started working with you.
Okay, so I probably didn't hear about this.
It was like a month before I started working with you. Actually, no. Actually, no. I just started working with GNC because about 3 days later is when I got, the tattoos done on my throat and my face. Yeah, I had to get rid of that one that was on the side, that I always had to wear the Band-Aid.
Ira, what did you have there before you had the hearts?
Oh, God, let's not do this.
Come on. Come on, indulge us.
I was forever crying with a teardrop.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You say it like it's the end of the world.
It's just, dude, it's just such a negative moniker, man. Like, there's no good behind a tattoo like that. Like, nothing good comes of it. Same thing with the, the judgment, the perception, and just overall the reasoning of having one. It's not me, dude. It's just not me.
No, I mean, and I understand that it's not, what it represents is certainly not representative of who you are today. And honestly, to me, that's what matters. I'm not really too concerned with what you were doing years ago. I like to see who you are today, and I'm proud of who you are today. So I don't know if people tell you that enough, but I'm happy with the hearts. Instead, I think they're more fitting for...
I remember the first time you saw them, too. You're like, what the fuck did you do to your face?
I was like, does he have fucking hearts? I called Will. I'm like, he put fucking hearts over those teardrop things. I was like, is that okay? Like, what? But anyway, I do like the Hearts much better. So what have you been up to this week, Ira? What's been going on? What's the
This
weekend
week.
hold?
Oh, this week has just been work, 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 work.
Yeah.
Just coming back from COVID, my first week back from work. I came into my store location not up to the visual standards that I expect, and so it's just busting my ass, hustling, getting that shit all done. You know how I work.
Oh yeah. So
and the thing is, though, I've just been coming home fucking exhausted. I'll get home 8:30. I'm out at 9, and then wake up and do it again.
Isn't that a great feeling though? Like knowing you're like tapped from working your ass like so hard. Like, isn't that a good feeling?
It's a good feeling when it's every here and there, but when it's every fucking day, dude.
Well, Ira, look, you're not exactly the easiest on yourself. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, though, is me working hard is probably about 8 people working hard equivalent.
I can attest to that. You are a hard worker. If it's one thing I can certainly agree with you on, you are, definitely one of the hardest workers in the room.
But one thing I definitely got to say, though, coming back from COVID, my first week back, I feel very good, refreshed. But aside of that, also, for a little bit, I was losing myself a little bit. My mind wasn't.
How? Why?
Well, dude, I was battling depression. I was battling a number of different issues that I suffer from. And I didn't have any resolve because I didn't have any time. Luckily with COVID, I had some time to, get in touch with myself, get in touch with my feelings, my emotions, and just really realign myself. And when I came back, man, Average Joe Ira fucking came out, dude. The Average Joe that fucking created that, man, the myth, the legend, that came out. And, and it really restored my passion for what I do for work, because my passion did start waning. And, I just was so badly wanting to get that, just get the back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think a lot of people can relate to that because so many people go through the motions of work every day and they're going through that like 9 to 5, like you're just like every day, it's the same remedial crap. And, it's too bad that you had to be sick with COVID to get that time to yourself. I think that's awful that's what it took. But, on the other side of things, like, I think it's good that you got a chance to, regain that like consciousness to like, what you really are passionate about. You are passionate about what you do at GNC. And
absolutely,
with passion, you could truly do anything. And I think people kind of think the idea of being passionate about something is underrated, but they are so wrong. They are so wrong because if you are passionate, just think how much you can do. Like, even when you have, like, I'm sure your first day back, your second day back, you probably just felt like incredible. Like, even though you probably had a clusterfuck of things to do, but like you probably just felt so great that like it didn't even matter because you were just like riding that wave of endorphins because you got to see like, wow, like I had some time for myself, and that truly helped me see like I am still super passionate about work, and that's really cool.
And the one thing is the beautiful weather, bro. The beautiful weather definitely added to that. The 70 fucking degrees, holy shit! I was so happy to open my doors.
I was thinking that earlier, because people talk about like seasonal depression, and I think I used to think it was like a joke, like, yeah, who gets depressed?
It's a real thing. Like, winter I go through this shit. Like, I cannot fucking help it. It happened last year.
No,
the year before it happened.
Yeah, this year was the first time and the hardest time for me. I've never experienced anything like it. Granted, I had other things going on, but like even on like a good day where I knew I wasn't stressed about anything, but I just like woke up and I was just like already like in a bad mood. I was like, oh, this has got to be just like seasonal because.
Well, that's how I woke up today. I woke up in such a fucking shitty mood.
Oh, you were in a mood this morning.
I was. Trust me, the mood wasn't the fucking description. I woke up and every little fucking thing pissed me off. Like, I just wanted to blow shit up. So I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling great. I'm going to the fucking gym. Went to the gym, took all that shit out, came back home, and there it's gone.
I love that you have an outlet, because obviously we're so close, and I like to look out for the people I love the most. And of course, our relationship. it makes me happy to see that you have that outlet. And I did the same thing today. I was like, I was in just one of those fucking moods where like the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm getting a lot of pushback from things that I would never really think I would get pushback from. Getting a little resistance from, a lot of different areas. And I was just in like a funky mood. I went to the gym, and let me tell you,
Oh, I saw the pictures.
You know what's, a total side note. It's a real shame. You have to post a half-naked picture to get anyone's attention these days. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that? Do you like on a personal level?
Well, when I take half-naked pictures, it's just to piss people off. Like, nah, 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 nah.
Well, that's your MO. Okay, it makes sense. See, my MO is like I enjoy how I look, and I want to share that with other people. I don't really care that like you like how I look. Like I like how I look. That's why I post pictures like
that's
that.
What matters the fucking most. That's the thing that matters the most. Fuck what anybody else thinks. Appreciate yourself and love what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's true, man, because like I honestly like sometimes I post shit and I'm like, okay, like is that me? Like is that what I want to do? Like is that how is that like, is that painting an accurate portrait of who I am? But like, I post pictures like that where I'm, I got no shirt off and dude, I just feel great. Like I feel great. I want to share that with other people. And like I have people that will rain on my parade, but like I feel great. And then I have people that will like hype me up, and like I feel even better. And I'm like, this is great. But anyway, I posted a picture the last time I posted a picture, I was at the gym and I felt great. I had a great pump.
You look great though. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, looking great is one thing, but feeling great is totally different. Because if you feel like shit and you look good, no.
I would rather feel good and look like shit than look great and feel like shit.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Couldn't agree more. But I was surprised. I had hundreds of views on those pictures, and like
really?
I've never had interaction like that on social media from the people that follow me, and a lot of the people that I'm friends with and follow, I know on a personal level. These are people I know, and they just don't interact with me like at all. I think they just creep on my shit, but whatever. But I was just like so floored. Like I have to post a half naked picture just to get like
any attention.
Yeah. Not that I wanted the attention, but like I was just like, what the fuck?
It's like seriously?
Yeah,
this is what it takes?
Like I post
what you're into?
Yeah, like I post, oh yeah, I'm like, let me tell you, the messages I got were not obscene, dude.
Oh.
Yeah. Like is some of you
I always encourage you, man.
Yeah, well, encouragement is one thing, but obscene is a different level. I mean, some of you people need to, I don't know how you kiss your mother with a mouth like that. That is fucking vile, some of the things.
You want me to whack them?
Not necessary, Ira. I handled it myself. Okay. I appreciate your offer. I always love that, all the people in my corner are always trying to do something like that for me. I mean, you're willing to whack anyone. I got other friends that are like willing to drive me to work every day.
Yeah, I mean, I already have a few times. All you have to do is point and I'll shoot.
We won't go over those kinds of things on the air. We don't want any incriminating evidence against us. God forbid.
When I say shoot, I mean attack with words.
So Ira,
clarify.
You said you wanted to talk about something last week. I wasn't sure if that was. We didn't get a chance, so the viewers understand. We didn't get a chance to connect this week. Me and Ira to kind of discuss, where we wanted to go with this episode. I mean, we talked this week. We just didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the podcast. And it wasn't out of neglect. It's just I think we obviously enjoy just kind of shooting from the hip. It's always worked much better for us.
Well, I mean, because dude, it's the most natural thing we have going. Like shooting from the hip is just real.
Yeah.
It's not no scripted BS. It's not us running lines. It's not us, trying to, sell anything or even just, garner followers. We're just doing what the fuck we love, bro. That's really what it is.
It's the same thing like posting and I post on my story because I feel good or I want to share something and I want other people to feel good with me, essentially. It's the same thing with the podcast. I hope that people feel good when they watch this. And I've heard from a bunch of people, And there's, a lot of people that are really into the podcast. And I think that's really cool to see that, it's getting traction and people are feeling inspired by what we have to say. And, to be as organic and authentic as possible. I mean, YouTube won't like us because all we do is say F words every other sentence. But,
but we're being real, man. We're being real. That's us.
I mean, one thing that I've always gravitated towards people for was being real. And I'm not entirely sure what that like entails, but like just being authentic and like being transparent. Like I love people like that, man. So like I want us to be able to put that image out into the world. And I want people to know like they can check in on a Sunday when they're feeling like shit and they're like, man,
just
I don't
hang out
have
with us.
Yeah, I don't have a prayer. I don't know if I'm going to make it through the week kind of thing. I don't have enough money for my bills. Like there's like a plethora of reasons that people might be having a bad weekend, a bad week, a bad month, a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
And how cool would it be to see like, people that chime in and they feel impacted by what we have to say because we keep it real. Because we could script it. I'm a control freak.
We even talked about scripting it and we both fucking nixed that idea.
Oh yeah, almost immediately. It was no good. It wasn't good. Not good at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. But
So,
at the same time, dude, we're such bad actors that if we tried scripting, you'd be like, all right, these two fucking retards, I'm not even watching this shit.
I'm a terrible actor. I am terrible.
Me too.
I can only excel at the person I am, which is kind of ironic because this week I noticed a lot of acting. Right? It's funny you bring that up. Like people that I know, kind of acting. How do I put it? Not acting themselves, let's say. Certainly not acting themselves. We won't say acting like someone else, but certainly not acting themselves. And that's where I spent a lot of been getting a lot of the resistance that I have been the last, couple weeks. And it has me, the last couple days, it has me really digging, like, is there a full moon? Like, what's happening in the world? No full moons, right?
No full moon.
Maybe it's just like one of those things where like the universe is like, Tony, we gotta do something with this situation. We're gonna start fucking with you a little bit. I'll be honest.
Do you think Mars might have lined up with Saturn and Mercury?
Let me tell you something. Something's lined up somewhere, and it doesn't belong there. Okay, it does not belong. I want a break. I want a fucking break from whatever Saturn's doing out there, whatever Mars, or I don't understand all of it. I do read my horoscopes though, which are always fascinating.
Okay.
I read those at the end of the day because I like to see how accurate they were.
Oh, for the day. All right.
So it's like you'll find the love of your life today, and I'm like, oh, didn't do that today.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about fortune cookies.
Oh yeah, same thing.
The only thing is I don't get to enjoy them because my son eats them all. Like every time we get fucking Chinese food, he eats all the fortune cookies.
But yeah, I mean, back to the universe thing, and all I keep thinking is like, because I think I've been fighting a good fight, and I said it last week. Being right is unpopular. I know I said that last week, and this week I really, really, really digested that very statement. Like, there is no wrong time to do the right thing.
That's very true.
And I feel like people get shunned for sticking up for what they believe in. And they essentially change their ways and they don't stick up for themselves to some degree because they get shunned by the world around them. And I've experienced that a lot this week. And I'm just like, and for me, I don't shut down. I go into overdrive. I'm like, okay, you're going to shun me. I'm going to come in 10 times harder now, 10 times faster. I'm on fire now. And it's just,
See, I do the exact opposite. Do
you?
Oh, absolutely. Because here's the thing.
Yeah, you do.
If you're gonna sit here and shun me, dude, I don't give a fuck. You want to fuck you? You can suck my dick. You want to? I'm gonna keep doing what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't like it? I don't care. Don't watch. Don't do it. Don't whatever.
Well, I agree.
Like, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like if I do anything, I do it with my heart, and anybody that knows me knows I do it. That's why I got hearts on my face. you know. But the reality is like when I'm doing anything, I'm doing it with passion. If you
Yeah.
don't like it, get the fuck out of my way, because I'm not stopping, whether you like
Yeah.
it or not. No matter what the fuck bullshit you're gonna say on social media, I don't give a fuck. You know, I got 2 middle fingers and they work very well.
Yeah, Ira definitely is on his game tonight, and I appreciate that, Ira. Maybe it's not the way I would go about explaining things, but I do appreciate that because, dude,
Look,
there's
and I
so
don't mean that to, you know, to sound like I'm an asshole. It's just
no,
there's just so many assholes out there that think that they could just go and fucking run their mouth, say whatever the fuck they want, okay, and then
Yeah.
hide behind a computer or hide behind a phone, you
Yeah.
know. But the reality is when I know I'm right, I don't need to prove shit to anybody.
yeah,
And if I'm not going to waste my time dropping myself down to somebody else's level to try and prove them wrong. So therefore, they just like, what am I proving? Because only what I'll be doing is trying to prove something to myself that I can win a battle.
yeah.
When the reality is by not caring, I already won the battle.
You should never go to war with someone who's unarmed. I heard that a long time ago, and
Actually, Sun Tzu said that.
yeah, and that really resonated with me for the longest time, because as a young guy, I always, started a problem or had a problem with somebody, and if I was right and I felt in my heart I was right, and I know what you're saying, you're not coming off as condescending, like you have a heart. I understand that, and I know the viewers definitely get that. But you can't attack these things, and I've realized it a lot as I've gotten older. Like, if you know you're right and you feel in your heart you're right, okay, or this just feels like something you believe in. I don't know. It's not even a matter of being right. It's just something you believe in. Like, nothing else matters. Like,
Yeah.
nothing else matters. If you're sticking up for the right thing and it's part of, whatever belief system you may have, I mean, it's better than not having a belief system at all and not sticking up for anything and just, just taking a beating from every fucking direction because you're so lost in yourself that you don't even know what to stick up
I mean,
for.
if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and I mean, that's an age-old saying, but it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, and we were talking about, cancel culture. That's something we brought up a couple episodes ago, and I'm gonna tread lightly because I don't feel like getting a headache from anybody. It was funny because he tread lightly with me, but like I really don't care. I encourage people to tell me how they feel, even if they don't care. Don't try to impress me. Tell me how you feel. What's on your mind, right? Like, what do you really have to say? Don't try to fabricate it in some way that is fitting for me. If you have something to say, follow through and say it to this person. Try to communicate it, obviously to, in an articulate way if it's something complex. But he was talking to me about cancel culture, and I was like, man, I don't really want to talk about this. Like, it's just not anything that like interests me. And we're talking about it, and honestly, I couldn't believe just the communication gap that sometimes you experience with some people is just it's overwhelming. And I was going somewhere else with it. Fuck me. I hate losing my train of thought. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's a motherfucker. And it happens to me like a million fucking times a day, dude. I'll be mid-sentence and it's like, oh fuck. I happened on the podcast at one time, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just fucking got silent. I'm like, oh fuck, what the hell happened? Just went blank.
And I do it so often that like I usually can bounce back, but sometimes you can't grab onto that very thought.
The momentum.
Again. Yes.
Well, once the momentum went, and then you start feeling like all fucked up about yourself, like shit. So then that just adds insult to injury.
Well, needless to say, we were going to talk about cancel culture. I have no fucking clue why.
Well, you were talking about you had a conversation with one of your friends. He treaded lightly, and you really didn't care. You really wanted him to tell you how you felt.
Yeah, I know, but there was somewhere deeper to that. It was going somewhere much deeper, but we'll fucking if we'll come back to it. I'm sure it'll come back to me. Let's talk about something else.
Well, I mean, you want to go into the topic? Like, what I wanted to speak about was journaling,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No, I wanted to hear a little bit about what your thoughts were on this journaling thing. You brought it up last week, and I wrote about it today in my journal, actually.
Well, you were the inspiration.
Well, it was like collateral damage this morning. It was like I was your inspiration, but after you brought it up to me last week, and I knew we had the show today, I was inspired by you bringing it up to me. So I wrote about it. But yeah, what do we got on journaling? Do you know how I feel about journaling?
You know, the thing is, though, is like journaling has taken a big spin because if you really look at it, you know, back in the days, it started out with you just, you know, pen and paper, or pencil and paper, or even just rocks and fucking animals' blood on a wall.
Here's my journal.
And if anybody didn't get that reference, I was talking about cavemen drawing pictures on a wall.
I love this thing. Oh yeah, it's packed. It's packed. I don't fuck around with my journal.
Well, let me ask you, what does journaling do for you, though?
Oh man, you know, I asked myself this question this morning. It's fucking weird that you asked me that, because this morning I knew we were going to talk about it, so I wanted to be, you know. Me being me, I want to be prepared. I want to be the sharpest guy in the room. I want to make sure I'm on my game. So I asked myself this morning, you know, well, like what is the evolution of journaling? Because like one day I just picked up a notebook and I said, I'm going to start journaling. You know, and I'm going to give you the answer that I wrote this morning.
Okay.
I don't think you're ready for it. This, because I dug into myself this morning. I took a hard look in the mirror. I had to understand this. I wrote, journaling has given me life. And I left it at that. I wrote some other notes in there this morning, but I wanted to just give myself an idea of what this has done for me, because I wasn't entirely sure myself. I know I journal every day and I like to do it, but what has it done for me? And I'll share with you a couple of the other notes. Once a crutch for me to manage my days, because I was going through a divorce and I lost my dad and I quit my job and everything was fucking I mean, the things that are meant to break a person, I went through every single one in a short period of time. And, you know, those are things that will have people committing suicide, running away from home, developing extremely bad mental disorders. Those things.
Drug addictions.
Yeah, drug addiction's a huge one. A lot of people relapse because of relationships. I mean, it's the #1 reason people relapse. But I went through a lot of things, and right in November when I took that trip to Nashville, some people.
Nashville.
I took that trip to Nashville, and after speaking with people a couple months later, it was brought to my attention a lot of people thought I was going on that trip to kill myself. That's
what?
Yeah, that was and
that's
I don't
what these fucking people thought of you.
Well, they weren't belittling me, but they knew where I was. You know, you knew where I was.
Dude, I knew where you were. My fucking thought is you're going to get your shit together. You fucking just fuck everything. I'm doing me. Like, I just want to be alone.
And that's fine. That's
like,
what
you're gonna go find yourself. You were on a journey. Like, that's my fucking thought. Like, I'm not thinking about he's gonna go fucking off himself. What the fuck's wrong with you, motherfuckers?
Well, that's the impression it gave people. I was in a bad spot, and you nailed it on the head. I wasn't going to kill myself. Frankly, I'm too big of a pussy. I couldn't do it, and I feel for people that ever get to that point. I fucking truly, I feel on a level you wouldn't understand. But I went to Nashville and I started journaling, and I did it out of desperation. I was truly desperate. I couldn't talk to anyone.
But you needed it. You needed it.
Yes, and I was happy I did it. But for the journaling, I had to start writing because I couldn't talk. I was so trapped in my own head that I didn't know how to get my words out. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who to trust. Every single one of my best friends had screwed me in some way that I couldn't trust anybody. Even the people that I loved and knew I could trust, I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't want to bother anyone. I felt like a pain in the balls. And the people that I did talk to didn't really care what I had to say. They just wanted to tell me how they felt. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I got to a point where I felt like I was the only person that understood me. And it was really lonely. It was really dark. It was a really shitty place. I got on a plane and went to Nashville by myself. And I started writing on a couple pieces of paper one night. And, you know,
Hey, let me pause it right there, because here's the thing. If I was allowed to cross state lines, I would have been in Nashville. Because you called me and said, hey, dude, come out to Nashville. And I know you were dead serious. And I was dead serious in my thinking, like, shit, how the fuck am I going to get to Nashville? Am I going to get fucking caught? My pro-ups are going to know what I'm doing?
we need more people like you in this world, Ira.
And I listen.
You've never let me down yet, Ira. I don't expect you ever would. I'm happy I took that trip solo, though, but
I'm happy you took that trip too, because I remember when you came back.
Yeah, I felt and this is why I preach, you know, do what makes you happy. And I feel like people kind of think like, oh yeah, how corny, but like people have no idea the shit I went through because I wasn't very vocal about it. You know, I talked about how
and
felt.
rightfully so, though. Rightfully so.
Yes, yes. You know, I wasn't going to be on here crying every day, and you know, and I speak from experience. I lost my dad, dude. I lost my wife. My wife, you know, had some things going on with my best friends. I lost best friends, so I had collateral damage. People I had at my house for dinner. You know, I had no job. You know, the world was caving in. So, needless to say, I started to journal, and I wrote it this morning in my journal. You know, this was once a crutch for me to get through my days, and it truly was. I couldn't. There were points in my, you know, in the very beginning that I started to journal that I had to journal. I couldn't get through the day without it. Like I had to. It literally was the only thing keeping me alive and without losing my mind. And
that was your therapy.
Yeah, it was my therapy. And so it was once a crutch, but now I look back on those pages that I wrote in the very beginning back in November, and they're my blueprint. They're my way to get through my days now, because I mean, that's like amazing, man. Like that makes me so happy, like to know that I was in a place I never thought I'd get out of, and now I'm looking back on it and I can
You were in your own prison and you're out and you got your freedom.
Yeah. I felt like my thoughts were the inmates and my brain was the asylum, and it felt like the inmates were running the asylum. I felt like I could not get out. I felt like I could never make it out. It was impossible to me. And I told myself every day, you gotta give it a chance, Ant. You gotta give it a chance. You have to give it a chance. You know. So what does journaling do for me, Ira? It literally has saved my life.
It gives you life. It
Yeah.
gives you life. And when you said it gives me life, you know, you said I'm not ready for the answer. But as soon as you said it gives me life, I already knew exactly what it meant. Like I knew everything behind it. And the reason why I say that is because journaling myself is what got me through 10 years of prison.
Yeah.
All right. Like now, I didn't actually write in a book. I knew better than to do that in prison. I had a tablet.
Yeah.
And it was password encrypted. And even if the cops got it, you're not getting my password.
Yeah.
You know, so my journaling was a little more in depth than, you know, just putting letters on a tablet. It was,
Sure.
I would actually meditate out into a zone, and I call it my safe place. Okay. And just to give a visual, it was this world by itself. And when I say a world, it's this big, it's small. Okay. And it's a barren beach with black sand, black at night with a complete full moon, with just a couple of clouds just going past, warm, salty, like
Ira, you're
summer,
painting a very descriptive picture. I can see this in my head here.
And that's the point, because this is what I envisioned when I was in my trance, because I had taught myself how to go into this mode. And from this mode, all right, I would sit in the sand, and sometimes I would think about people sitting next to me, and I would have conversations with them. And a lot of times, that's how I got in touch with myself as far as coming to terms with my past. You know, I relived every single moment that I could possibly remember as a child, a young teen, a young man, an adult. You know, I lived all of that all over again. And it's literally this how I came to terms with a lot of the shit that I harbored inside that was so bad. You know, it was I had so much anger inside of me that I needed to get it out because I wanted to come home and start a different life. I wanted to be somebody different. I did not want to be the same person that walked in those prison doors because I was a piece of shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I had a good heart. I was just misguided, misdirected,
Sure.
and I had no direction. I was on a path of destruction. I didn't want that anymore. You know, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so from that meditation, one day I decided to start actually journaling the experience. All right. And I would write this almost as if it was a small novel. That was my journaling.
Okay.
And when I say a small novel, I literally mean a fucking small novel. I mean, this is 10, 15 pages long per chapter.
So you
And
were
I took
really,
chapters.
you were really fucking right. I mean, my worst days, I only got to like maybe 3 pages was like my worst day, you know, where I just kept, because I would write until I felt better, you know, and sometimes I would write it in my journal, write until you feel better. And some days I'll write a sentence. Other days I had to write 2 or 3 pages. So, I mean, a novel's pretty impressive. I mean, but that's, how do you do that? Like, because there's so many people that don't want to acknowledge like their past and how awful it was and how sad it makes them today, or how, in your case, it made you mad, you know, like how daunting of an experience, but like, how can someone like come to terms with that shit? Can they, is it just through meditation or what?
No. Well, here's the thing, dude. I had to forgive people that deserve to be killed. And I
Stop
say
there.
that with passion.
Yeah.
Like, that's how serious this shit was growing up as a kid. And I had to find a way to be okay with what happened. Doesn't mean I forget about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm saying, okay, it's fine. No, not at all. I had to come to terms and realize these people are fucked up,
Bad people.
but I don't have to be anymore. I don't have to be anymore.
So this was for you more than for them. This was for
Exactly.
Ira.
This was
And
for Ira.
and you had to you know, bite your pride on this one and do what was best for you.
Well, it wasn't about pride, dude. It was never about pride.
No?
You know, just growing up, like some shit that happened to me growing up, I was fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, I was fucked up and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. I just ignored it. You know, and what I mean by ignored it was, you know, I was sticking needles in my fucking arms. I was running with gangs. I was doing so much extra shit. But the one thing that I did not do was get to know myself. I didn't know who I was.
What happened the second you started to learn about you?
The second I started to learn about me, I started realizing my potential. I started realizing that I am not this person that walked in these doors.
Yeah.
Because the thing is I was just a byproduct of a creation, of a creation, of a creation. But I wasn't Ira James Rhodes.
Yeah.
I wasn't anything. I was just whoever I was in the moment. I was whoever I was around my surroundings. I was whoever I was. Basically, you can call it a product of my environment. And I don't mean that in the same term, in that weak ass term that people use to make it okay that they're fucked up in the head.
Yeah, like they justify like, well, yeah, like I'm an alcoholic because like all my friends are.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ever go to prison, like you will hear so much fucking sob baby bullshit stories that I'm a product of my environment.
Ira, look,
you have the power to convince yourself.
I was never in prison, Ira. However, I was fortunate enough, okay, and I mean it wholeheartedly, and a lot of people won't see it this way because they have that, you know, that bullshit victim mentality. I was fortunate enough to spend some time in a 23-and-1 lockdown facility, and I spent the Christmas away in there. I spent the Thanksgiving away in there, because that 23-and-1 facility was really just a holding facility before, you know, because as a juvenile, they want to find placement for you, which means we have to find a program that fits what your needs are, you know, and which is pretty broad because who the fuck knows what my needs are at 15, because God knows I didn't know, you know. So I was at the mercy of the people above me, and I was lucky. But you know, I spent this time in this lockdown facility, and I remember it was you know, you deal with people that are, you know, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. You know, I've been victimized in some way. And I went in and I immediately knew this was not my life. This was not who I wanted to be. I probably could have came home a week later and had it all sorted out, because I knew in that moment that I was there after spending a fucking Christmas alone in a cell that, like, it's the ball's in your court, man. The ball's 100% in your court. And you know, if and that's why I'm so headstrong about like people overcoming things, because I look at a lot of the things that I've dealt with, and I look at a lot of the things that you've dealt with, and a lot of people I know that they've dealt with in different ways, and I've seen them overcome these things. And I'm like, you know, I talk to some people, and it's not to undermine how hurt they are by certain things, but they can't overcome these things because frankly they're not trying. They're not trying. They don't care to try. And I realized it early on this week. You know, people like to be sad and mad and upset and regretful. But people
and
do
complain about it.
Oh, of course, but they like to be sad and mad and regretful because frankly, they're doing all these things that promote that behavior.
Yeah.
They continue. You wake up depressed because you're out all night drinking. What makes you think next week you go out all night drinking, you're going to be in any better fucking mood?
Exactly.
You know, you're going through this fucking door, this goddamn revolving door of like emptiness. And it's just sad to see. I see so many people go through it. You know, and frankly, it's an identity thing. People don't know who they are. So they're doing these things to just get by. I pray for them. I do. There's a serious identity crisis in this country, in this world. There is an identity crisis. I am hell bent on this.
I couldn't agree with you more. I definitely could not agree with you more.
Seriously, I cannot say it enough. I think there's a serious identity issue. Our society does not promote people that should be themselves. We are again earlier. When we were talking about people being shunned for speaking up about what they believe. How fucked up is that? That the one small time in your life that you say, you know what, I've had it. The one time that you say, I've had it, I'm going to speak up, and you get shunned, what does that do to your psyche? You'll never be able to speak up for yourself again, because you're like, oh God, that one time that took me 6 years to get to where I spoke up for myself, you know, I was shot down, you know, and that's rough because now you have a confidence issue. But there's a serious identity crisis in this country, in the world, and I pray for a lot of the people that are going through that, because I think if people can take a minute to truly do what is in their heart, whatever the hell that may be. Look, if you aspire to be an alcoholic growing up,
you're going to be an alcoholic.
I am not ever going to take that away from a person. But I see so many people that talk about all the things they wish they did or wish they could do, or talk about, you know, things in different contexts. And I'm like, well, why don't you do it? You know, and like,
and it's funny you bring that up, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I always watched bodybuilding competitions. I always envied these guys, but I just never felt I could be that.
Exactly.
And bodybuilding is my hobby now, dude.
But did you ever,
fucking hobby.
Until now, did you ever really give it a chance to see if I could?
No.
But now you're doing it, and you're like, I could. This is possible. How fucking, I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's so ironic. Like, it's the same thing with the journaling, Ira. You know, I used to write in that journal and think it was the last day I'd ever make it through the world. And I look back on that journal, and I mean, it could easily bring tears to my eyes. It is my blueprint. It is, I used to write about the day that I'm at now 6 months ago, because I knew this day would come, but I didn't know for sure. But I had to give myself a chance. And it's just one of those things, like you said, with the bodybuilding or anything, just anything you dream of, you have to, people just don't give shit a chance. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Well, not only do they not give it a chance, you know, all they do is give it a thought, but they never put an action towards it. You know, because a lot of times it takes some real actions in order to get momentum. And that's the thing. people are afraid of momentum. They're afraid to start something. You know, it's the fear of the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen. And
Oh God.
from that, they take the comfort position, they take the victim stance, they take this, they take that, and do everything except the one thing that they need to do: move forward.
Because that'll make
that first step.
That'll make them happy.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that'll, if you just take those steps. Again, I mean, with Whiteboard Worthy, with the On Blast, you know, I used to think we'd never get to the point where we currently are, and we're here. You know,
yeah, we're here. And
we're
you and I have
here.
been talking about this, what, for almost a year, 2 years now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, those 2 years ago, we were just bullshitting about it. Like,
yeah, it was a nice idea.
We should do a podcast.
Yeah, it was a nice idea. Yeah, it was a nice idea, but you know, and that's okay. It's okay to dream about those things and maybe not necessarily jump on them, but I hope, my biggest hope is people, if they, you know, everyone has these dreams that they didn't chase. I wish people would chase those things. I think we'd live in a very different world if we focused on ourselves, focused on really enriching our true identity, who we really are, by chasing those things and seeing if it's possible. I mean, yeah, I get it. You might have 7 kids at the house and 2 full-time jobs, and your wife is like on your ass about bills every day, but like, you know, it's all, I guess it's already as good or as bad.
Like, here's the thing: be grateful, because what I look at is,
Yeah.
I have a roof over my head, I have a wife that loves me, I have kids, I have a family. You know, I have all this. That's what I see when I hear that. I don't look at the negative aspect of that. I look at just be grateful for what you do have, and look at the glass half full.
People aren't like, you know, I can't say people aren't like that. Okay, I digress.
One thing I need to say. Over the last couple of months, my thought process, like I said, I was in some depression, and I was looking at the glass half full. I was focusing on the negative, and I had to really come to terms with that.
Yeah.
You know, I had to figure that out, and you know, Jess had pointed that out to me, and she really dug into me about it. And when she really dug into me about it, before I even tried to defend myself, I shut the fuck up and I listened. And when I say I listened, I fucking listened. Because if it comes to anybody that knows me, aside of you,
Sure.
there's very few people that know me as well as she does.
Yeah.
You know, I can count on my fingers right now how many people that know me that close. But she was saying some real things. One thing that she recommended is that, you know, obviously I go to therapy, but 2, before I go to therapy, fucking start writing in a journal. And unfortunately, I did not write in a journal. I opted to go to therapy because I preferred to actually talk.
Yeah.
You know, and from therapy, you know, I went on medication. The medication is helping me. I wholeheartedly did not ever want to be back on meds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, dude, I'm so happy I did, because it's given me clarity, it's given me focus, it's given me hope all over again, and it's allowing me to just, you know, readjust myself. But the thing is, though, is it wasn't for lack of effort, because I'm journaling right now.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't do it in the order that it was presented to me. You know, she wanted me to journal and then therapy. I decided I'm going to do therapy. And here we are with the podcast, and this is my journal. This is me getting my stuff out. This is me putting a moment in time and giving it to everybody instead of giving it to myself. Because the thing is, though, is what I've always done, especially when I was in prison, was I always wished that people could hear these thoughts that I had. People could just understand me. People could just go into my black sand and feel that air. But the thing is, though, is nobody will. You want to know why? Because I didn't give it to anybody. So here I am now, giving everything I have on a camera to the rest of the world. Just bearing myself, just like you are right now. This is my journal. And social media is allowing us to have a next generation of journaling.
Yeah. I mean, Ira, that's very well said. You know, your conversation with Jess, I'm just going to, before I get into my thought, I think we're going to do a part 2 on journaling next week. What do you think?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Yeah? Okay. So all in favor, say aye. 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 Okay. So majority wins. We will be doing a part 2 next week on journaling. But back to the conversation you had with Jess. That's a humbling experience to sit there with the love of your life while they rip into you, essentially. And you sat there and you did what no one would do. You did what no one would do. I swear to you, you did what no one would do, and is so out of character for you. You listened.
Because I can't hear shit.
You listened, and you listened so much so that I could see a change in you. My problem is I'm not going to control people. So when I see something, I bring it to your attention, and then I'm like, okay, they need to sort that out. Like, you know, he's like, especially you. I believe in you, so I know Ira can sort things out on his own without me holding his hand. But I knew you were going through some shit, and I'm just floored that you did listen, because our immediate response to someone giving us having a conversation with us that is particularly sensitive to us personally on a very personal level about something that regards us is to be on the attack, be on the defense, and you attack. You know, no one sits there and listens and really eats shit and listens in a conversation like that. So I think it's incredible that, you know, you were able to humble yourself enough to not even have the conversation, but be a part of that conversation. Because, again, even for someone like me, if you start ripping into me, the first thing I'm going to think about is how I can rip into you. And I'll eventually say, Ant, hear him out. Okay? Instinctively, that's who I am. I need to hear a person's side before I just lose my mind, because I like to have all my facts together twofold. So I like to make sure I'm not right once. I want to make sure I'm right twice before I get on you. So I do listen, but instinctively, I think we can just be on the defense with people. So it's good that you took the time to listen in a very constructive conversation. A and B, journaling is on a new level these days, Ira. I got a bug flying around my fucking head here.
Is it a bug?
I don't know what that thing was. I hope it doesn't come back. Journaling is not something that I think our society necessarily encourages. You know, I see people at me, and I think the narrative is, oh, what a pussy. He's talking about how he feels. Okay. I know that's the narrative. I know that is how people see it. Which is why I embrace it, because I want people to know that that is not the narrative. I'm not a pussy because I want to write about how I feel every day. I've said it to people. I'm in the middle of hanging out. I'm like, yo, I got my headphones. I got my journal. I need to go write. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Don't bother me. And they're like, where the hell's he going? You know, but then I have people that are in my corner like you that are like, okay, he has to go journal. You know, especially I'm with Nick all the time. Nick's like, you know, Nick knows the drill. I put my headphones in. It's time to journal. He doesn't even look at me, you know, and he encourages it because he knows it's what makes me feel good.
He knows it's helping you.
Yeah,
he knows it's helping.
Yeah, and you know, so and I hope society changes to the point where it starts to allow people to, you know, essentially have that voice to journal and talk about how they feel, and whether that be journaling on paper, whether that be.
Let's just hope cancel culture doesn't get to it.
Look, if you can cancel people talking about how they feel, I will start a fucking revelation. I will seriously start a movement. Be right there. I will start a movement.
The Meta Chaos Society.
Yeah.
Call that the Meta Chaos Society.
You'll be in charge of naming it. It has to be appropriate, of course. But we will have to lead some kind of movement, because if the world ever gets to a point where like we want to just hush everybody and shun people for embracing who they want to be or how they feel, I've got a big say in that. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I am.
Me either.
And I say it very passionately. If you think you're gonna shush somebody for, you know, especially.
I don't believe in offended people just solely to offend them. But at the end of the day, though, you know, if it's said with taste and it's said, you know, in a proper manner, and I'm not the one to say what's proper.
Sure.
Right? But if a message is delivered in a way that, you know, it's accepted, why are we going to try and cancel that? What, because somebody doesn't believe in it? This is a free country. I'm not going to say a free world, but the thing is, though, is cancel culture is trying to take away that freedom.
Yeah, I
have a big issue with the cancel culture, if you can't tell. Like, I'm getting really fucking pissed off with these people.
I'm gonna have to dig into that a little bit this week and understand it a little better. But before you can say it, I'm aware of our time frame. We look. I have got like 8,000 more things I could go on about. But
me too.
I realized
you know I can't shut the fuck up.
I realized we were at our allotted time, and I have to say this was one of my favorite podcasts. I probably say that about all of them, but this was one of my favorites.
No, well, the thing is, though, is I gotta agree with you there. You know, I bared my heart on a lot of stuff. You know, I talked about some stuff, dude, that, like, my dad's watching. Like, some of the stuff I talked about, he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, he hears it from a podcast. But the thing is, though, is I'd rather my dad know this side of me. I'd rather him know how I got through prison. I want him to know how I became the man that I am now. You know, and a portion of it, I have to attest to him because he was with me the whole fucking time, dude. The one person that has never fucking given up on me in my whole life is my dad. Like, all the shit I put him through, never gave up on me. And he's still fucking alive and kicking right now. You know, and I love my dad more than anything.
Ira.
He might not think so, but I do.
Ira, I know you do. And I know Dad loves you just as much. And I know we discussed some things on this episode that were particularly sensitive that you probably don't share with other people. And I encourage anyone that is in that position to share those things because it can be liberating, you know? You just said it best, especially, I mean, sharing shit with a best friend is one thing, but a parent, someone that has been your ride or die. I mean, not everyone can say that, you know. I know a lot of people that have good parents, but there's also the side of people that, you know, they don't have parents, you know, but nonetheless to have a parent, you know, to be open with your parent is extremely difficult because you want to be accepted. This is your loved one. This is the person that you need the most acceptance from anywhere, any time of the week. And I understand that. So it's great that you could talk about those things. I know, again, this episode, we talked about some things that were definitely sensitive to you.
Yeah. And I needed it. You know, like I said, this is my journal now.
Yeah.
I've moved on to the
No, Ira.
My therapy.
This is our journal.
There you go.
This is our journal.
I was waiting for it.
Our journal. This is, we'll get our story out to the world. And as much as I love to talk about myself, I know everyone loves to talk about themselves. I do hope that, my only hope truly is that our stories can help people in the most meaningful way possible. I hope people feel encouraged to maybe, you know, start their own podcast or maybe just talk about the things that mean something to them that are hard or anything of that nature.
Well, I mean, one thing I need to encourage is everybody to like and subscribe to our On Blast official podcast.
You guys,
Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yes, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, guys. If you haven't already, you can find us on TikTok at OB Official on TikTok. Again, OB Official, OB On Blast. Anyway, Facebook and Instagram, On Blast Official. If you haven't followed us yet and you don't know how, you're just not trying. So I can't hold your hand on that one. My only, you know, my biggest hope is when I download the video tonight, Ira, is everything is in frame and not anything what it's looked like the entire hour I've been sitting here.
Everything should be in frame.
You say that, but you'll hear from me in an hour, and I'll be having heart attack. Uh-oh. Did I lose ya?
Let's see if I
can hear me.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I can read your lips, though.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? And I think that's our cue. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for joining.
What the fuck, man? Fuck me. All right, Ira. Love you. Goodbye.